A lot of updates to share with you all. And this is your space. If you are building on Quai Network, hop into our Discord. We are actually simulcasting this event from Discord into X through my personal account here. So I should be pinning a tweet at the top of the space right now with the link to Discord. Definitely want to hop into our Discord server. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in there. So check that out as soon as that gets pinned. And I will reach out to the rest of the team and we'll get this space kicked off shortly. There it is. All right. So the link's up there in the pinned tweets up above. We had a great space last Friday talking about Kipper teams. We'll pin some more tweets up above here in a minute, but let me ping the rest of the team here. Maybe we can get some more engineers in. Interim, if anybody has any questions about building anything on Quai, go ahead and drop it into the chat on Discord or into the comments on this space. We're going to prioritize Discord today, but if you can't join us on Discord, feel free to drop a comment or question into the space here on X, and we'll get to those closer to the end of the space so we can get those questions answered along the way. Rock and roll. So, interim, my name is Matt. If you're new around here, we do a little bit of everything at Quai Network. We are not a core engineer. But we do a lot of developer relations, and I should be able to help anybody who is working on building dApps or launching smart contracts on Quai Network. I have a live stream series that we kicked off, I want to say 2 weeks ago now, where we were building an NFT project on Quai Network. So if you're curious on how to build an NFT project on Quai Network, go ahead and check that stream out. But Quai is EVM compatible, so if you're familiar with building on EVM blockchains, this should be pretty easy for you all. There's some minor caveats there, but we cover that in the live stream, so go ahead and check that out. Otherwise, let's see what's going on in Discord right now. We got, Keisha's got a giant wall of questions. But I'd say go ahead and drop him, Keisha. It looks like Jonathan's tuning in here. I'll give him the invite to speak. Hey, Jonathan, how you doing, sir?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear. Let me turn up my volume a little bit more. But welcome. Appreciate you joining us. We got the spaces fired up and a wall of questions in Discord already. So I think we're ready to dive in, but before we do that, how you doing, sir? Anything you want to share with the community to kick us off?
Yeah, doing well. We're working on getting Kipper out, so that's our priority this week. We're going to have a bunch of features that are, available in both Kipper Mobile and desktop Kipper. So we're just trying to get feature parity, and then we're going to have a couple extra features available on mobile. But we're hopefully going to get all of it out this week.
Rock and roll. Awesome. Appreciate that, Jonathan. All right. So with that, I'll go ahead and officially kick it off. Again, this is our Quai developer Q&A. We do this every Monday, same time every Monday. So if you're interested in building on Quai Network or you have any technical questions for the team, this is your chance every Monday to hop into Discord, ask questions of the developers. Jonathan is a man of many skills. Really appreciate him tuning in with us today. If you are new around here, I'm going to drop a link to our developer Discord server. There's a lot of new activity going on there, which is cool to see. A lot of folks trying out the faucet, trying to get their hands on some testnet Quai, messing around with the QU AI bot, and sharing a little bit of what they're building along the way. So hopefully, things are going smooth for them. But if not, you can always jump in here every Monday. and get your questions answered. Obviously, we provide a lot of support in that developer Discord server as well. So go and check that out. I'll drop that link. I just dropped it in chat. We'll add it to the tweet here in a second. But Keyshore's got a ton of questions for us to kick it off. You ready to go, Jonathan?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Okay. So he's been collecting many community questions on the new Pelagus wallet update. First one to get us rock and roll here. What exactly does interval conversion do under the hood? Is it about auto swapping at intervals or more about UI grouping of conversion frequency? Good question.
All it does is do conversions in the background. So you set up kind of how often you want to do a conversion, the amount per instance. Like, for example, you can do one every 2 minutes, and you can do a maximum of 100 G to Quai, and it'll split it up into multiple different conversion transactions so that you don't get slippage as badly. That's kind of just like an advantage of, the wallet, is that since it's running in the background, it can do transactions on behalf of you in the background, right, while you're just doing whatever you're doing on your browser. Like, as long as the browser is open, the wallet is open, so it can send transactions on your behalf in the background, and it can basically split up a large conversion into many small ones.
Got it. Cool. And just some additional context, I see some new faces around here. Quai Network, dual token model. We have Quai and Chi, and the ability to convert between the two in the protocol. And so this new update basically allows you to perform many conversions with a set slippage over a longer period of time. So if you got a fat stack of Quai, you want to convert to Chi or vice versa, and you don't want to incur the slippage when converting it all at once, which can sometimes be upwards of 90%. You'll want to use this feature to convert smaller amounts over a period of time. So you can achieve your desired slippage rate. Rock and roll. Thanks, Jonathan. All right, moving right along here, we got another one. Do we want to show users a countdown until the next scheduled conversion, or just show progress so far? Oh, good question. Honestly, I haven't used this feature. Is there a way to show progress, Jonathan? Do we know?
Yeah, if you go to the settings, you can see the progress. It's not shown in like the main wallet UI. I suppose we could add it in there too. Right now, it's shown in the settings, and if you also click on conversion and you like scroll down, you'll see it there too. So there's two different ways to like get to it, but it'll show like the progress. Yeah.
Nice. Right on. And just out of curiosity, I'm assuming there's a way to cancel it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can stop it. You can cancel it at any time in the settings. And if there's like some error or something, it will cancel itself and it will show you the error again in that kind of UI. Yeah, and in terms of a countdown, like we could have that too in the settings. I don't think that needs to be on the main UI. It can be in the settings, but a countdown seems reasonable.
Sure. Cool. And then you could go perhaps look that up on QuaiScan. Nice.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. All right. Yeah, there was a ton of features we released recently in the latest version of Pelagus. So love the questions, Kishore. Moving on to the next one here. What was the motivation behind adding the ability to set custom RPCs? Another good question.
We're going to move towards, more decentralized RPC set in the future. With NepoPAS, you can start doing, validation of other RPC infrastructure, like responses, like validation of blocks and stuff like that. That's not built into the wallet yet, but that's a step in the direction of decentralization, decentralizing the RPC set. So that we're not the only ones running RPCs.
Right. Good point. Yeah, and I'm assuming now if you're running your own RPC, you'd be able to test that out with the latest version of Pelagus. Is that correct, Jonathan?
Yeah, you can set an RPC. If you have your own custom one, like if you're running your own node, you can point Pelagus to your own node and use that as the RPC. That's just, a way, just in case our Quai RPC goes down, if there's any downtime, you can use your own node. There's some alternatives. QuaiSwap runs a node, I'm pretty sure, and there's probably some other, community members that run nodes. So, if there is any downtime on our end, like, you can always use Pelagus with their RPCs.
Heck yeah. I need to try that out. Maybe we'll do that on an upcoming stream. That's a pretty cool feature. I'm super excited for that. You made some progress recently as well, moving the ball forward on Nepo POWs. So really cool stuff. Decentralized RPCs, trustless RPCs perhaps with Nepo POWs. So really looking forward to that. Nice,
Yeah.
Nice. Great questions. All right. Next one. If I unwrap wrapped chi to chi, does it happen instantly on chain, or is there a batching queue system in place? Good question.
It's locked for 2 weeks. That's all. There's no batching.
Right. So, and to be clear, wrapped chi is, chi with as an ERC20 type standard on the Quai ledger. And you could go swap Quai for wrapped chi right now on QuaiSwap. And then with Pelagus, you can interact with that smart contract. You can choose to unwrap it, and that is, I believe, a single transaction to maybe a single set of UTXOs, and then it just gets locked for 2 weeks. Did I explain that correctly, Jonathan?
Yep. The wrapped chi is just ERC20 token. It has the same properties as chi, well, except for the privacy part. So native chi is more private for sure. Wrapped chi is kind of the protocol-enabled stablecoin, energy dollar. It's just available in smart contracts, so you can use it just like any other stablecoin, like USDT. And then you can convert it to native chi, but that does lock up your funds if you do that. Wrapping native chi to wrapped chi does not lock your funds. So that's just something to consider when you're moving between the two. We're going to add the ability to convert wrapped chi into Quai in the near future. It's going to be a hard fork, so we have to schedule that. But that's something we're also working on.
Heck yeah. Nice. Awesome. Really appreciate that, Jonathan. And then so just on that last bit you mentioned, going from wrapped chi to Quai, I understand, ultimately you can do that right now on QuaiSwap, but that exchange rate is not the same as the protocol's exchange rate. And so there are times when folks will want to use the protocol exchange rate to go from wrapped chi to Quai. And that's what you're kind of referring to there is, the ability to do that with a single 2 week lockup period.
Yep. So going from wrapped chi to Quai would lock your funds up as well. Going from wrapped chi to Quai in like a swap, right, and a DEX, which is way more efficient, does not lock your funds up. It happens instantly, just like any other, swap. But yeah, if you want to convert wrapped chi to Quai, it's a little bit more of a hassle, I guess. So we're trying to make that easier.
Nice. Yeah, really looking forward to that. I've been watching conversions and QuaiSwap, and it seems like as soon as we released those features on Pelagus, people started taking advantage of that. So that's super cool to see. The market is maturing, or at least there's definitely some folks conducting some arbitrage out there. So tip of the hat to those. Great question. Appreciate that, Jonathan. Okay, moving right along here. Are there any validation or health checks for custom RPC URLs? Can I put anything I want into that input box on Pelagus, Jonathan? Or is there any kind of like checking happening behind the scene?
You have to put a Quai RPC because it uses the Quai namespace.
Right.
Otherwise, no, I don't think there's any like validation. I don't think you have to use HTTPS. It should work fine if you use HTTP. If you put a port number, it might not work. I'm not sure about that. I don't think I've tested ports, but yeah, you can try it and just let me know if it works for like port like 8,000 or whatever it is. That's the only thing I'm not sure about, but I do know that it works for HTTP. So, and WebSocket. So actually you have to supply both. You have to supply the HTTP RPC endpoint and the WebSocket RPC endpoint, which are both, they're started by default when you run the Quai node. You get an HTTP WebSocket and HTTP RPC and a WebSocket RPC when you start the node. So you have to supply both of those. But that's it.
Got it. Okay. That just reminds me though, is Pelagus expecting, when you use a custom RPC, is it expecting the same pathing configuration that we have on our public nodes? So if I want to run a custom RPC, do I need?
No, you don't have to use pathing.
Okay, rock and roll. That's good to know. Cool beans. And for context, Quai is a multi-chain architecture, so pathing is one way of interacting with the variety of chains there. So, for example, Cypress 1 is the shard. There's a specific port for it, and there are regions and prime chains as well. Cool. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody there. If you're diving into building on Quai and you have more questions, feel free to follow up, and also join us in our developer Discord server. Nice. All right. Moving right along here. Let's see here. Kishore's got a question. In Provider Factory, we now delay local node checking until the network is selected, correct? Was this mainly to save resources? Oh man, Kishore, you're always diving into the GitHub repos. I love it. Does that question sound familiar to you, Jonathan?
I actually don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. Kishore, maybe if you provide a GitHub link, we can dive into that one a little deeper. It's been a while since I looked at that as well. Rock and roll. All right, moving right along here. More custom RPC questions. When I add a custom RPC, does Pelagus check if it's synced properly to the right Quai network, or does it just trust the endpoint? Sounds like it just trusts the endpoint at this juncture. Is that correct, Jonathan?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's no way for it to know if it's synced or not. Like, it just uses that as an RPC.
Right. Good point. Okay. All right. Moving right along. Will Pelagus automatically fall back to the default RPC if the custom RPC goes offline, or do you need to manually switch it back? Oh, that's a good.
You need to manually switch it. I don't think there's any default fallback. That's something we could set up, but like right now, if you tell it to trust an RPC, it uses that RPC. So if your RPC is not working, yeah, you need to switch it back. There's a button in there. It's just click the button, it resets it. That's all.
Nice. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Reading ahead. PR mentions RPCs, now support WebSockets. Does this mean I need both? Sounds like yes. Sounds like you do need to configure both HTTP and WebSockets for everything to work smoothly. Is that correct, Jonathan?
Yep, you need to supply both. The wallet uses both the HTTP and the WebSocket endpoint, so you need both. But they're both started by default when you start the node.
Cool. All right. Last question here, at least initial set. Were there any new error messages or warnings added to help users when using custom RPCs or for failure of conversions?
No, on QuaiScan we have the conversion revert transaction, but not in Pelagus yet. No, we still have to add that to Pelagus. It's a little bit complicated because it's a separate transaction, so it's not easily identifiable. There's probably a way to get, that information. Obviously, QuaiScan does display it, so there's a way to get it. But right now, if you look at your address on QuaiScan after you send a transaction or a conversion transaction, that's kind of how you know if it reverted. Like, you'll see a transaction, and if it says conversion revert, then you know that it reverted.
Got it. Pretty simple. Awesome. All right. Kishore is calling out some of the bigger community questions. This one's super interesting. Is there a possibility of Tangem supporting liquid mining tokens in the future? Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, Tangem can support anything they want. I don't think they'll support G at first, but an LMT is an NFT technically. Mm-hmm. In our construction, it's effectively an NFT. In Lithium's construction, it's an NFT. So yeah, I mean, the Tangent wallet can hold any ERC20, any NFT. Now, there's some work that needs to be done to like get it fully set up to trade on Lithium. There's like some front end support you have to add, I think. But like, yeah, no, that's totally doable. And honestly, a Chi LMT is also an NFT on the Quai ledger. So because that's all in the EVM, the Tangent wallet can interact with the EVM. So all of that stuff can be held in the EVM, just like Wrap Chi can probably also be held on Tangent. That's assuming Tangent supports, Quai tokens, Quai EVM tokens, but I don't see why they would not. Since, the support for that is fairly easy, and to my knowledge, they support other ERC20 tokens, so I don't really see why they wouldn't. So all of that stuff, yeah, can be done in the Tangent wallet.
Rock on. Interesting question. Yeah, sounds pretty easy. Thanks, Jonathan. Next one, not sure what we know about this, but the community is dying to know. Are there any additional updates from the Tangent team or the Kraken team?
No, the integration is ongoing, so we don't have like exact updates. All I can say is that integration is ongoing, and we are in regular communication with the development team. But yeah, integration's ongoing. It's on their end.
Okay, rock and roll. All right, pivoting back to the wallet. When it comes to conversions, I think there's a minimum. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, but I believe the minimum is 100 Quai going to Chi, and then maybe it's 10 Chi going to Quai. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, I can check real quick. Let's see.
Okay, so that's the minimum. Do we know if there's a maximum?
Looks like I'm able to convert less. So yeah, the minimums now are lowered, just because, we want to reduce slippage, exposure for people. So you can actually convert 1 Chi to Quai and 10 Quai to Chi right now. I'm pretty sure that's the current minimum. Now, again, with 1 Chi, I mean, you're going to pay, fees. I don't think it's worth doing 1 Chi. I guess, the fees are not too bad. I think conversion transactions cost about 10 cents, if I remember correctly. So if you're willing to spend 10 cents out of the 1 Chi, which is 1/10 of it about, if you're okay with that, I mean, yeah, you can do it. That's basically just going to be the slippage as well. If you, increase the amount, I think 10% slip is, probably what you're going to get. So if you're still trying to do, Chi to Quai conversions, you can lower it to 1 Chi now if you want. But I would recommend still doing 10.
Right. That reminds me. Sorry, real quick. Do we know if there's a maximum?
Well, there's slippage, right? So the maximum depends on the average conversion volume. It's a moving average of the last, I don't even know how many blocks, probably 7 days worth of blocks. It's a moving average. So when you, do volume, when other people are doing volume on the chain, conversion volume, that is, it increases the moving average, which increases the capacity. So the capacity starts small and it increases over time as more people are doing conversions. So as the volume increases, the capacity increases kind of. So there's no limit. There's just a certain capacity after which you're going to get, slipped. You're going to have a lot of slip. You're going to lose 90%, I think.
Right. Okay. Good call out. I just dropped a link to the conversions dashboard so folks can play around with this using some of the latest information from the chain. And I just put in 1 Chi right now. The expected slippage, I believe, is 4.9%. And usually when I'm doing these conversions, I always pad that slippage by another percent at least. And then going from Quai to Chi, I think you said the minimum was 10. That slippage looks a little better at 0.24%. So those are the current numbers. You can check them out at conversions.quai.network. Rock and roll. All right. Out of curiosity, Jonathan, do we know if there's a way to get what the upper bound is currently from the chain?
The upper bound for what exactly?
For conversion, right? Like you said, it kind of like
Yeah, just type in a number in until like I could just go to the conversions, right? I could type in a number, like let's say I type in 100 chi, right? That's 90% slippage. If I put 50, it's 90, so it's probably like, I don't know, 30 or something. It's kind of like a guess and check at this point, but yeah, if you put like 35, it looks like it's going to be really high. So I would say 40. You want to stay less than 40 for sure. You got to stay less than 40 right now. 40 chi, that is.
Got it. Okay. All right. Yeah. So it looks like I'm following along here. 100 is 90%. 40 is 90%. 35 this is more like 64%. So somewhere around there.
But if you split them up, that's just per transaction. If you split them up
Yeah.
using the conversion interval feature, like you're not going to have that problem, right? You're going to have, if you do it like once every few minutes, like every 2 minutes or something, like the volume is slow enough that it'll allow it with, 10% slip or something like that.
Right. Yeah, the smaller amounts, the slippage numbers drop pretty dramatically. We're at 6% ish for 10. Okay, 10 G to Quai. Nice. All right, appreciate that, Jonathan. Let's see here. We have an interesting question from 0x Eperu. I believe that's how you pronounce that. I don't know if I have context though. They're also tagging Christopher. Christopher, let me know if you have context. I'm going to skip that question for now. They're asking about payment apps. Real quick, while we talk about that, we do have a mobile app that functions like a payment app, and we should be expecting some updates on that real soon. So, looking forward to that. Let's see here. What if you do multiple orders of 10 chi conversions? Would it be the same rate as if I did 100 chi in the same order? I don't think so. I think, what we're saying here is you can set your slip or reduce your
it's much lower.
slippage.
Like the slippage is much lower. The rate you would get is much better if you do 10 chi conversions or 10 chi conversions,
Right.
you get a much better rate. You just have to set it to do it every like 2 or 3 minutes. There's obviously a problem where if somebody else is doing that at the same time, like your transactions might get reverted. That's the only thing. That's just like part of the game, right? If other people are trying to do it and you're trying to do it, like the slippage would go over the amount that you set. Like that's why you set a slippage, because it's like that's the max amount you're willing to lose.
Right.
If somebody else does it at the same time as you, that could cause the amount that you would get to be worse. So it would just revert. But yeah, under normal like instances, like you can do this. If you just set it, you can even set it like if you have a lot of time on your hands, set it like once per 30 minutes, right? Instead of once per 2 minutes. And then the probability that somebody else is like going to slip you or you're going to get, kind of, a collision or something like with their transaction is lower because people are not going to be doing it every 30 minutes or, so there's just like something you have to consider, right? I would say if you have a lot of time, keep the browser open, set it to like once every 30 minutes, you probably are fine. But yeah, there's always the risk that, it's going to get reverted, but doing 10 at a time is much better than doing 100 at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. Really appreciate that, Jonathan. I was just thinking through the math here. And let me know if this sounds correct. First of all, Slap, great question. Really appreciate that. So when we did 100 chi in the conversion dashboard, we were looking at like 90%. Say nothing changes. If I wanted to do 100 chi in 10 chi conversions, that would be 6% on the 100 chi in total. 6% slippage each time. So way, way less than converting 100 chi all at once with 90% slippage. Nice. All right.
Yep.
Rock and roll. Okay. Let's see here. We got a bunch of questions from Keyshore. He added some context for 0x Eperu. He was focusing on decentralized means of on and off ramping. That's an interesting take. I'll table that one for now. I mean, I think the most decentralized way to on and off ramp is probably through a decentralized bridge. Have you had any thoughts on this, Jonathan?
Well, on and off ramping, is all to do with the banking system.
Right.
There's different providers that we're working with. So, we're trying to get an off ramp solution in the works for a card. So like a crypto card that you can send Quai to and use it in the real world as dollars. That's like an off ramp that's in the works. Then we have like on ramp providers that we're looking through. Like the problem is on ramp providers are not very good in crypto. There's Coinbase, which is great. MoonPay, which sometimes works, and then like after that, it's pretty bad. But we definitely do want to integrate an on-ramp provider to our mobile app. And we're still looking for leads on that. Like if anybody has a lead for an on-ramp provider that works in the US and works in Europe and works in Asia. I mean, there's a lot of regions that we want to cover, right? So that's kind of the problem. We want to find an on-ramp provider that, can supply multiple regions, US, South America, Europe, Asia. Like they have to support credit card and debit card on-ramps in all these areas. Even MoonPay doesn't support credit card on-ramps for a lot of US credit cards. So I mean, it's a process. We're still looking for it for the right one, but it's definitely something that we're pursuing. Right, the off ramp is way easier. We've noticed the off ramp is way easier.
Yeah, good points. And if you think about on and off ramping from the perspective of fiat, I think the only solutions are centralized. So
yeah, because fiat itself is a centralized system, so any on-ramp providers is going to be centralized. Now there's P2P, which is like Binance P2P, Gate P2P. These exchanges have peer-to-peer on-ramping solutions, and that's something that we could consider. It's just not very stable, and it's very location dependent. So depending on where you are in the world, your on-ramp provider for your location is going to be different. And there's a lot of fees involved as well. The fees are really bad for like credit card on ramping P2P. Like you can even find it. But P2P is like a more decentralized solution, but it's still kind of unstable, I would say. I've tried it. Like even in the US, it's pretty unstable. You have to like wire money to someone and then hope that they don't scam you. It's kind of unstable. So still trying to like consider the best option there.
yeah, good points. Great question. Thanks, Kishore, for providing that context. Yeah, now something we're still working through. All right, moving right along here. Kishore's got a bunch more questions about these custom RPCs. Kishore, love the feedback. I can tell you're really excited for this. So, next one here is for automated conversions and RPC switching. Are there any plans to add status indicators, e.g. RPC offline in the UI?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that sounds like a reasonable ask. I would say just make an issue in GitHub and we'll get to it.
Is there a health check endpoint?
What?
Is there a health check endpoint, like a /OK or whatever?
No, the health check is just like chain ID, right? You ask the RPC for the chain ID. That's usually the health check that Ethereum nodes use.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't have like a health check.
I was thinking that might be handy, especially for like returning, current block height and stuff like that. But obviously, all those RPC methods exist, so probably unnecessary. Nice.
Yeah, block height is a good health check too. If you have an idea of what the current block height might be, you can do a health check or a block height for a health check, kind of.
Right. Rock on. Okay. Next one here. Will users eventually be able to add multiple RPCs per network so Pelagus can automatically pick the best one based on speed or reliability? Man, Kishore, you're like 10 steps ahead. I love it.
Yeah, definitely 10 steps ahead. I think that's a good future feature, but that's not something we're working on right now. If you have an RPC you want to use, just put that in there. If you don't, use our own. That's kind of where we're at. I think RPC providers in general will provide you backups as well. So they'll give you the endpoint, and if the endpoint is down, they might give you a backup. So it could be useful. But I think they also, in general, have their own backups. So like QuickNode is run on like many, many nodes, right? When they give you an endpoint on QuickNode, like the request is being routed through like many different nodes. So if one of those nodes goes down, like the request is still going to be responded to. So a lot of these RPC providers have kind of a backup system in place. They might also give you a backup. That's fair. But that's just, not something we're focused on right now. But I think in the future, that could be a good feature.
Yeah, load balancing, right? A lot of these RPC providers use that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's more useful for people who are doing programmatic stuff. If you're doing transactions every second, you definitely want a backup.
Yeah.
But Pelagus doesn't really support its kind of programmatic stuff, right? I mean, not really. I guess it sort of could, but you'd have to click sign every single time. So it's not like the best way. I guess if you're doing the interval conversion, then maybe you want something that's reliable. That's fair. But otherwise, like, you have to click sign every time anyways.
Got it. Man, I'm getting excited to try this out for myself, perhaps on a live stream. We'll see how it goes. Next question here. Is the default RPC list in Pelagus hard-coded?
Yep. Yeah, the default is rpc.quai.network, which is hard-coded. Yep.
And then for orchard.rpc.quai.network. I'm curious now.
Yep.
When you add an RPC, does it automatically detect the network, or do you choose the network?
No, it's where you choose the net. So you choose the network first, and then you put a custom RPC in. That's what you should do. You shouldn't just you can't put an orchard RPC if you have the mainnet network selected. It won't work. You have to, if you want to put an orchard custom RPC, you can do that, but you just have to change your network to orchard first.
Got it. Okay, that makes me think though. What about private networks?
I don't think we currently support private networks on Pelagus, no.
Okay. All right. Right on. Kishore's got me thinking over here. Okay, next one. What's the difference between refresh providers and refresh providers for network? As a user, when would I notice each one being used?
I can try to look at, I don't know what that is, but I can try to look it up. Is that in the Pelagus wallet maybe?
Yeah, I'm assuming so. Yeah, Kishore, if you got some GitHub links, that would really help us answer these questions. Sorry, man. The last time I looked at Pelagus, I was manually unwrapping Qi or doing conversions. So I am not super familiar with that code. All right, moving on then. Let's see here. When I set an interval conversion, does Pelagus actually schedule on-chain transactions to run automatically, or does it just prepare the settings for me to confirm each time? Sounds like they run automatically.
Yeah, you don't have to confirm. The interval conversions run in the background, so you're not going to be clicking sign on every transaction. Normally, that's not how a wallet operates. Normally, you click sign every single time. Mm-hmm. The only, case is this interval conversions, which is a background process that signs on your behalf. So that is something you should be wary of. It does sign on your behalf. Now, of course, you set it up in advance to do that. But it's creating multiple signatures. If you try to do a transaction at the same time, it might accidentally send the same nonce, and so you might have like a collision there. One transaction goes through, the other one doesn't. So while you're doing it, I would generally recommend not doing too many transactions. I mean, you can still do transactions while it's happening, but you can't do too many because you might have a conflict, potentially. And so it's just, something to consider if you're doing a lot of these background conversions. It is, signing on your behalf. And because of that, it's probably best for you not to do too many transactions on your own. Like if you're swapping or sending money or whatever, it's generally recommended you don't do that while you do the background interval transactions.
Got it. I'm curious, Jonathan, is that less riskier if, say, I'm converting Qi to Quai and then I'm interacting with dApps on the Quai ledger?
That's fine.
Okay, so there's two sets of nonces there, effectively, right?
Those are two different wallets. Yeah, your Chi wallet and your Quai wallet are separate. They are still under the same seed phrase, but they are different ledgers, different code. They're basically different wallets. They do have the same seed phrase though, but they're basically different wallets. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Okay. All right. Next question I just thought of here, since we're talking a lot about, running some background conversions, to avoid, hitting those big slippage numbers. What happens if I close my browser while those, conversions are happening, say like every 5 minutes or something like that? When I open my browser
I'm pretty
back
sure it'll
up.
stop them. If you have to have your browser open. Yeah, that's one requirement. So I guess that should be deep. We should probably write that down somewhere. But yeah, if you want to do this in the background, your browser has to be open because your wallet has to be running in the background for it to work. And oh yeah, one other thing I think you might want to set your wallet. Yeah, we should probably write this down.
Okay.
You might want to set your wallet to the auto lock interval of 1 hour, and that's because I think if the wallet auto locks itself, it might interfere with this interval. I didn't have that problem, to be fair, but I think if the wallet auto locks itself, it might stop the interval as well. That's also something to consider, yeah. If you want to do it for longer than an hour, which would be like, if you're doing like 10 and you're doing once per 10 minutes, something like that. Oh, no, that's not an hour. If you're doing like 20 once per 10 minutes, then you're going to have to unlock your wallet. If it's longer than an hour, it might auto lock. So that's also something to consider. I just thought about that actually. So the wallet does auto lock itself. So we might want to give longer auto lock periods actually to fix that. I didn't run into that problem, to be fair. I ran it like a bunch of times. I didn't run into that problem, so maybe it doesn't actually happen. But that's something you might want to consider if you do run into an issue. If you close your browser, the interval will stop. That means it'll cancel itself basically.
Got it. And so my second question there was like, so I close the browser, the conversions stop. If I reopen the browser, do the conversions continue?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So I'm taking some notes for us, dropping those in.
I'll have to test that though. I have to test that. Yeah. I haven't tested that specific thing yet. But that's a good question.
Okay. Cool beans. Got some notes for us in an internal channel there. Thanks for sparking these questions, Kishore. I really appreciate that. So kind of in that line of questioning there, Kishore is asking, can I run multiple internal conversions in parallel? Ooh. I suppose if you have multiple.
Yeah, I believe so. But again, if you run too many from Quai to Chi, I mean, either way, they might conflict. So if an interval conversion is running and it sends a transaction at the same time as another one, those transactions are very likely going to conflict. So only one of them will go through. So that's something to consider. You can do like Chi to Quai and Quai to Chi at the same time. That's probably going to work fine. But if you do multiple Quai to Chi intervals at the same time, it probably will conflict. I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay. And to be clear, it's really the nonce that the wallet is generating might conflict, right?
Yeah, or the UTXOs that it's using.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good call out. Good point. Okay. Rock and roll. Great questions, guys. How does Pelagus handle failed interval conversions? Do they retry automatically? It sounds like if it runs into an error, it just stops and reports the error. Is that correct, Jonathan?
I think if it has an error, it tries 2 more times. Okay. So for a total of 3 attempts. If each attempt results in an error, it will cancel itself. And it'll also throw the error or show the error on the settings. If you go to the interval conversions in the settings, it'll show the error.
Cool. All right. Man, a lot of good questions here. Are interval settings stored locally in the wallet, or are they tied to my wallet address so I can see them even if I log on a different device? Oh, I hope they're local.
They're not really settings, right? They are more like you set up an interval with a certain amount and time frame or whatever, you start it and it runs in the background. It's not really a setting. It's not really stored a disk. It's not something that is transferable. It really is just this process that you start. And if you stop the process, it'll just stop. If you close the browser, it'll stop, right? It's just a process that's kind of spawned.
Got it. Yeah. In order to maintain that, we would have to store some things I don't think you guys want us to store. So good thought.
Yeah, I mean, I could see like if you accidentally close your browser and you open it back up, I could see you probably wanting it to continue the interval that it was doing. But that's kind of all. Like, I don't really see people wanting to transfer them cross wallet because they're really not long term. They're really just, you do it for like an hour. You're not going to be doing this for days. I mean, you could, but I mean, I don't know. I just don't think you'd want to transfer this kind of thing. It doesn't make much sense to me.
Right. Okay. Great questions, though. Really appreciate it, Kishore. Last one here. Are there any extra fees for using interval conversions compared to manual conversions?
No, I would say there's less fees actually because you're paying less. The slippage is not really a fee. It is kind of this mechanism to prevent gaming the system, although it does burn tokens. So I guess you can kind of think of it as a fee. The slippage doesn't go to miners, it doesn't go to the team, it doesn't go to anyone. It is supply removed from the system. But you can think of it as a fee. So anyways, yeah, you would pay less if you did interval conversions. Now, in terms of transaction fees, you'd pay more because you're doing multiple transactions. But usually the transaction fee is much lower than the slippage anyway, so it's not really something to consider unless you're doing like 1,000 of them or something.
And the transaction fees, it's my understanding they're actually consistent. Is that correct, Jonathan? So it should be predictable.
Yeah, for a conversion, I think you pay around 10 cents. That's my understanding.
Cool. Rock and roll. All right. Man, a lot of questions about the Pelagus upgrade. Love to see it. I know the community's been asking for it for a long time, and they obviously, really wanted it because we're definitely seeing the exchange rates on both QuaiSwap and the protocol start to change. Cooley is wondering, is the conversion router available on the testnet? I believe so. That's where I was doing a lot of testing, was on Orchard. So, yeah, my first thought actually though, just FYI, Cooley, don't expect the same conversion rates that you're seeing on mainnet. That bit me in the butt a few times. So if you're looking at rates on conversions.quai.network and you're playing around on the testnet, you're not going to get the same rates. The rates are sometimes vastly different between the testnet and mainnet. So just keep that in mind. However, if you're going to do some testing, definitely I'm going to link the docs here where you can double check those conversion rates. And you can, ping the Orchard testnet RPC, and you'll be able to get that information. So, all right, here's a link for you. Cooley, if you want to play around on testnet, I highly recommend it. But just know that the rates are different. Rock and roll. All right. Okay. Well, we got a few minutes remaining here, and Kishore's got some more questions, so we'll keep churning through them. I'm going to ask this. I'm going to jump over to Twitter and see what's happening over there. Kishore's wondering, what exactly shows up in historical conversion intervals? Just the fact that an interval was set?
Yep, it shows the interval that you set, the amount, the time, all the details you set up, and it also shows whether it completed or whether there was an error.
Rock and roll. Rock and roll. Okay.
And also not transferable across wallets.
Nice. Thanks, Jonathan. Really appreciate that. I'm going to take this moment because we don't get a lot of these, but Maria Gonzalez over on Twitter is wondering, Quai devs, what is your top feature? Great question. What's your favorite feature out of everything we got going on over here at Quai Network, Jonathan? Do you have a favorite feature? I'm struggling to choose one myself.
Well, there's a lot going on. Yeah, that's a hard question. I would say my favorite is probably the virtually unlimited scalability. That's where I see a lot of utility. The stablecoin aspect is also huge, but I mean, I personally have used Ethereum and Bitcoin when they did not scale. I mean, they still don't scale well, but I used them when the fees were really high. I remember spending $100 to trade some tokens. I spent $50 sending an ERC20 token. And the amount of ETH I lost, and in fees, because, ETH wasn't worth a lot back then. So it's like the amount of ETH I spent in fees is like hundreds. Like it's crazy, to spend like 100 ETH on fees, but like that's just how much you spent on fees, So yeah, I mean, it's a crazy amount of fees. I think, even today, I mean, you can spend like 2 Quai on a fee, but I think that's just because the Quai price is much lower than the Chi price, so the ratio is off. But once the ratio equalizes, like you won't be spending 2 Quai on a fee, and so that's just something that I really disliked about Ethereum. Even though I invested in it, even though I used it, even though I developed Solidity contracts for it and stuff like that in the past, I liked building on it. I liked Solidity, to be honest. I know a lot of people don't. But I didn't think it was scalable enough, and I think scalability is really, really huge, especially virtually unlimited scalability. So we can scale to 100,000 TPS if we need to, right? If that's really the economic demand for the system, like we can scale to that. And we can do it in a decentralized way. So we don't need 3 nodes running in a data center to do 100,000 TPS. We need 3,000 nodes running around the world, each in different shards, to do that. So we can do 1,000 TPS in just one network right now, but the unlimited scalability is huge. I think that's my favorite feature.
Nice. Yeah, no, I just added, oh shoot, I got distracted. I was tipping folks with Kipper. What did I say? Mine is the cash-like privacy properties on the world's first decentralized energy dollar. But I love your story about Ethereum fees, man. Yeah, I completely forgot about my stack over there for quite a while because the fees were absolutely insane. So consistent fees on an infinitely scalable chain is super cool. Heck yeah. We also had OX, 0x Eperu asked the same question they asked here in Discord. So respect for tapping into Discord. Tipping you folks some Quai on X here via Kipper Money. A couple of y'all aren't signed up.
Yeah,
so
tips going.
Yeah, you can go get some more Quai just by signing up for Kipper Money. Love it, love it. Okay, let's see here. 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's see here. How long is history kept in Pelagus? Is it unlimited, or does it get cleared after a certain number of records?
That's a good question. I don't know, actually. How long is history?
Yeah, Keystro's got
a bunch. If I scroll back in my wallet, looks like about 1 month. But, in theory, you could hold it forever because most people don't do that many transactions. So the amount of data you're storing is pretty minimal. It looks like it goes back to 1 month ago.
Okay. Yeah, good question, man. Cool. If Keystro clears his browser cache or reinstalls Pelagus, will my historical intervals still be visible, or are they wiped out? I think they're wiped out.
Wiped out.
Yeah. Definitely if you...
I don't know. Well, actually, you said browser cache. I don't know if that's related to browser cache.
Yeah,
if you reset Pelagus or if you delete the data in Pelagus, you're wiping everything. If you reset browser cache, I think it's different. I don't think it's going to affect it.
Yeah. No, good point. Cool. Let's see here. Can I export or copy my historical conversion logs? Or is it view only inside of Pelagus?
The best you can do is copy them. Like you can copy paste. That's what I got for you right now. I don't have there's not really a way to export them now.
All right. Yeah, man. That got me thinking. It's easy on an account-based ledger. Just go to the block explorer, but working with UTXOs, especially UTXOs with some of the unique features she has, might make accounting a little more difficult. Okay. Sorry, my brain was going down a rabbit hole there. All right.
Accounting tools will need to be built.
Yeah. Accounting tools will need to be built. That's a good point. Rock and roll. I mean, it's totally possible. It's not impossible. But yeah, good call out.
Yeah, I mean, there's accounting tools from Monero, and Monero is incredibly complicated.
Right.
In terms of the tech under the hood, I mean, incredibly complicated tech. Impossible to trace unless you have the private keys of each UTXO. I mean, it's very similar in terms of its complexity. It's probably more complex, but there's accounting tools and stuff.
Nice. Yeah, good call out. All right, last one in this stack. Will the historical view eventually include filters, sorting, e.g. by date, token pair frequency, last set on Pelagus and RPCs? Ooh, that's actually, building out that accounting tool, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a good question for any wallet that, wants to support Qi. What features are you going to support to help folks understand, this unique architecture and the unique opportunities that Quai creates? More opportunities than challenges, in my opinion. That's the way I like to look at it. Definitely challenges for folks who are seeking to understand, who are, just showing up. But as soon as you wrap your head around it, man, so many opportunities here at Quai Network with this unique architecture. One of the things I get most excited about. Nice.
Yeah, we could do a better job at engaging educational content. I think that's something we can work on. We do a lot of educational stuff in these live spaces, but having more podcasts, probably more written educational content, outside of the docs, stuff like that probably could be helpful for people to understand what we've built and what we're building.
Yeah.
But yeah, and more tools, I guess, to interact with the blockchain, interact with Qi, understand what's going on. That would probably help.
Yeah. Something I'm trying to get after. Speaking of which, we are planning a live stream for Tuesday. Those are recorded. I'm not sure how long they will be recorded, so probably want to try to scrape those sooner rather than later. But we just built an NFT dApp. We'll be moving on to the next thing. So if anybody out there has any ideas or wants to see me try to build anything else, feel free to slide into my DMs, drop it in chat here or in the comments section on X. I'm just kind of starting from ground zero. We had to fix the NFT dApp repo. So we got that one done in, I want to say, a little less than 6 hours. So that wasn't too bad. But we're going to keep doing those. And then if you have anything else you want to see or have any other questions, we are always available. Slide into our developer Discord server. Hit us up here in chat or DMs on X. Really looking forward to everybody's feedback. We're hyper-focused on building these tools and making sure that they work and that they have all the features you guys need. But for some of those folks who are, more than 3 steps ahead like Kishore here, just let us know what you guys want to see. Then we'll do our best to get around to it. So appreciate that. Kishore mentions he's got a ton of recommendations for the Pelagus wallet. Not sure if they're all quality suggestions. Yeah, feel free to keep them coming in the next office hours. And also, Kishore, man, I like all your suggestions. I would say just package them up and ship them over in the developer Discord server. We'll definitely, probably ask some questions if they're not clear, but I imagine those will make it into our engineering backlog pretty easily. Just a matter of time and getting to them, right? With everything else going on. But the deeper the backlog, the better, in my opinion. Especially if it's user-generated backlog. That's the best kind of backlog to have. So, rock and roll. All right. I think that's all the questions in Discord right now. One final check over in X, but we are over the hour at this point. Jonathan, any final thoughts for us while we start to wrap up?
Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the questions. If you have any further questions, feel free to ask in Discord. We'll get back to you. We're always happy to educate people, answer questions, anything you guys have, anything you want to say. All ears. We're always, very open. We're building in the open. We're answering questions in the open. We're always in Discord. So any questions you guys have, feel free to ask. And yeah, I'll get back to programming.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jonathan. Thanks so much. I saw a few more questions over in on X here from Master Crypto Mentoring. I'll drop those over to you, Jonathan, if you want to add anything. I'll do my best to answer them, and then we'll get them some Quai via Kipper for asking. Great question.
Sorry, what was the question?
He's got a few of them here. So BlipPay, will you integrate with fiat payments similar to EtherFi card and others? And then how is the development with Wormhole coming along? Do you think, how many days will we have an integration with those other networks? So I was just gonna link them to you, or I mean, we can respond here. Actually, I'll type it out.
Oh, he's not listening.
I don't see. Oh wait, he is on X. Hey, what's up, Master Crypto? Okay, yeah, go ahead, Jonathan. Sorry, I was looking at Discord.
The vision for Blip is to be a peer-to-peer payments app, but it also is going to include that on-ramp, off-ramp functionality. So I said this earlier, we're basically looking through providers right now for the on-ramp. The problem is the on-ramp is very tricky to get multi-nationality, multi-geography support. So for example, we want a provider that can do credit card to crypto or debit card to crypto for the United States, for South America, for Europe, and for Asia, right? That's like all of the world, basically. The problem is it's really hard to find an on-ramp provider that can do kind of credit card or debit card to crypto in all of those different geographic, areas or nationalities. So they all have to do KYC, which is another negative, right? We don't want to impose KYC on everybody, but we might have to just because that's how the fiat banking system works. But we're trying to find a provider that supports all of those geographies, because those are like our target markets. And so it's been a little bit of a hurdle to get through. Now the off ramp is easier. The off ramp is just we have a credit card, or we have some other way for you to like sell Quai and get access to the traditional fiat system. So we're working with a provider for crypto debit cards. So you can transfer Quai into the card, and then you can use it as money at any store that accepts like Visa or Amex or whatever the card is. And so that's already, I would say, 90% there, but the on-ramp is more of a complicated thing, because we have to find a provider that can support all of the markets, all of the geographies that we want to support, and we haven't found a good one yet. Even MoonPay doesn't support all of those, and so we might have to settle for MoonPay. Now, MoonPay so I'll talk about Wormhole. MoonPay will be a lot easier once we get on Wormhole, because you can then, buy Quai on Solana with MoonPay. It would be a very easy integration. Integrating MoonPay into the Quai native blockchain would be more complicated. And so in terms of Wormhole, that's an ongoing integration. It's been ongoing. We announced it last week, but it's been ongoing. So yeah, we're hoping, it'll happen sometime soon. I don't know how long it will take, to be honest. But I do hope it'll happen sometime soon, because that is something that will unlock further exchange listings and will unlock stablecoins on Quai, which is great for DeFi. So I would say that's something we're working with them on, and we hope to get that done soon. But I can't really say exactly how long it'll take. Wormhole is doing other integrations as well. We're not the only integration that's in the process, right? They're doing other ones. They're doing Monad. They're doing ZK Sync or something. They're doing like a few other ones. XRP Ledger also is getting on Wormhole. So there's like a few other integrations that are in the pipeline as well as our integration. So it really just depends on when they can get those done. Now we are helping them, so it's hopefully going to take less time if we help them. But again, it's really about getting their guardians to run the Quai node and getting the guardians set up to sign the VAAs. That's like the way that the bridge works. They have a set of guardian nodes that sign messages and propagate messages across different chains. So the guardian nodes have to be up to speed. They have to run the node. They have to understand what the finality limits are, all this stuff. So there's it's a work in progress. So I hope to have better news on that in the near future.
Boom. Great questions, Master. Thanks for asking them. Really appreciate it. Jonathan, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time today. I think
one thing I think will help actually is if we start mentioning them on X, because Wormhole, they don't really get too much engagement on X. So if all they see on X is us tagging them and being like, hey, when Quai on Wormhole, that's definitely going to help our case. I'm going to do that myself too. But for all the community members, like, we should try to push Wormhole to try to speed things up. I think that'll be really helpful for us. And because they probably don't get a lot of engagement from other projects on X, at least from what I could see. I think if we make a good push, they'll see it, and I think that'll make them speed things up a little bit. Now, we've already signed the terms to get it integrated, but in terms of the timeline, I think pushing them on X from the community, I think it'll be helpful.
Yeah, that never hurts with any of these partnerships, right? So great call out, Jonathan. Yeah, I really appreciate everybody who's gotten us to this point, and the journey's not over. We got some good stuff lined up for you guys, and let them know how excited you are about these things that we're building here coming real soon. So good call out, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Kiri's already all over it.
Yeah,
love it, Kiri.
I see that already. That's great, and we'll be tipping everybody. Anybody who does that, you're gonna get tips. So that's another pro. You're gonna get some free Quai.
Boom. Tipping directly on X. Only available on Quai Network via Kipper Money. It's a great way to go earn some Quai. If you haven't signed up already, you'll get some free Quai just for onboarding. Check it out. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff in the works. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm going to wrap it up here. Any other final thoughts?
No, thank you guys for listening. Again, if you have any further questions, feel free to ask in our Discord. So thanks.
Heck yeah. Yeah, tap into the Discord if you guys are building on Quai. We do this every Monday. This is your chance to ask questions directly of the core engineering team. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much for the questions. Both here in Discord, simulcasted onto X. So I went ahead and sent some tips out to those folks who were asking questions on X. Really appreciate everybody participating. We're learning a whole lot, getting some good feedback along the way, building in public. This is how we do it over here at Quai Network. So keep your eyes peeled for even more updates. Team's working really hard on the Kipper mobile version. We got updates to Blip coming along the way. There's a bunch of conversation today about the latest release of Pelagus. So if you haven't checked out Pelagus, there's a dark mode now, which I really like, and all sorts of new features for taking advantage of all the opportunities over here at Quai Network. And there's a ton of them. So go check out Quai Network over on X. Definitely want to give that account a follow if you're new around here. We got a lot of stuff cooking. So check that out if you're trying to get your hands on some Quai. Like I said, signing up at Kipper Money is probably the easiest way to do so. If you need more, we're traded actively on MEXC, Gate.io, and LBank. You can swap on Let's Exchange. We got some other big things coming down the pipe as well. We are on the Kraken roadmap, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And as Jonathan mentioned, we are working with Wormhole as well. And honestly, I don't know of another proof of work network besides some of the ones that Jonathan just enlightened us to, who are unlocking this capability. So pretty huge. Really excited for it. And once you get your hands on some Quai, you'll definitely want to secure those bags, practice security, practice self-custody, Get your hands on a hardware wallet, guys. A lot of nasty stories going around out there. Be safe. The safest way to do that is to store your crypto in hardware wallets. We have partnered with Tangem. There's going to be a limited supply of Quai branded Tangem wallets with a sweet discount. You can get a few of these things. Get prepared for multi-sigs for less than a price of a ledger right now. So go check out quai.tangem.com. Get your hands on one of those. It's going to be a limited supply, so don't miss out on that opportunity. And for those of you who are building on X here in Discord, if you're building on Quai, come check us out tomorrow. We do a space every Tuesday where builders are invited up to speak. And then we got a Tech AMA on Wednesday and another good Quai Friday cooking for you guys as well. So stay tuned. All sorts of content coming around here pretty much every day this week. I'll be live streaming some more building probably on Tuesday and Thursday. So if you have anything you want to watch me try to build or interact with when it comes to the Quai Network ecosystem, tune into that or hit me up and let me know what you want to see. But I think I'll wrap it up here for now. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. This is the Developer Q&A every Monday with Quai Network. Thanks, everybody. We will catch you all next week. Bye-bye, bye-bye.